So picture this. You've spent ages learning English. You can read articles, you get the grammar, your vocab's pretty good, you feel, okay about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you fire up a movie, something everyone's talking about maybe, and suddenly it's like you catch maybe half of it.
Yeah.
Individual words kind of pop out, but the whole sentence, the conversation,
Yeah.
just a blur. Feels like a totally different language almost. It's super frustrating.
Oh, absolutely. And if that's you, you are definitely not alone. It's an incredibly common wall that learners hit, even after years of studying sometimes.
Right.
You really shouldn't feel discouraged if that's your experience. It's normal.
Exactly. It's such a specific kind of confusion. Like, the building blocks, but the building itself doesn't make sense.
Well put.
So in this deep dive, we've pulled together some material to figure out why. Why does this happen so much with movies and TV? And, maybe more importantly, lay out some clear, practical steps based on what we found to actually start training your ear for that real spoken English.
Okay, let's get into that why then. Well, the biggest reason movies are so tough for learners is actually pretty simple when you think about it.
Which is?
They're made for native English speakers, full stop. They aren't language learning materials.
Totally a different goal. And because of that, the stuff we looked at points out a whole bunch of challenges you hit right away,
Yeah.
like people talking really fast.
Super fast, yeah. And often they're not, speaking perfectly clearly. They might mumble a bit or talk while they're eating or running.
True.
Plus, you've got the movie itself working against you sometimes. Background music, sound effects, explosions, cars, whatever all competes with the dialogue. That's a lot for your ears to sort through.
It really is. And then there's the actual language they use. Slang you've never heard, idioms, people talking in half sentences or cutting each other off.
Yeah, just like real life.
Exactly. People don't talk like textbook dialogues, and movies trying to be realistic show that.
That's such a key point about natural speech. Actually, what we found points out that even native speakers sometimes find movie dialogue hard to follow. They turn on subtitles too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So if you're reaching for those subtitles, you're in good company. It includes totally fluent speakers. That's definitely not a sign you're failing.
That's actually a huge relief to hear, I think.
Oh, hey.
And here's a good practical tip we saw. If you're just starting out using movies for practice, maybe don't pick the huge action movie first.
Good point.
All that noise, the fast pace usually, it just makes it extra hard. The material suggests dramas or like sitcoms are often better starting points. The dialogue's usually clearer, more central.
That's smart. Yeah, start there. But okay, moving beyond just the speed and the noise. There's something else, something fundamental about the sound of English in movies versus textbooks.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting, I think. This is like a major aha moment for a lot of learners. You're talking about connected speech.
Exactly. Connected speech. Textbooks teach you words, sort of, one by one. Let's.
Yeah.
Yo, numme. But real spoken English. It all blends together.
Right. Like the classic example we saw, nobody really says, "What do you want to do?" Nice and clear like that.
Almost never. It comes out as,
What
do you want to do? You want to do? Yeah, it sounds completely different. And if you've only ever learned the slow, separate words, that faster, mashed up sound is just confusing noise.
Totally. Your brain is trying to match it to the dictionary words, and it just can't keep up.
And the material gave other common ones too, like going to very often becomes gonna.
Gonna.
Did you eat? And sound like jeet.
Eat. Wow.
Yeah. And want to is almost always wanna.
So if you're not used to hearing those connected sounds, you're trying to map them back to the perfect words you learned, and it just doesn't connect fast enough.
Yeah.
It's not that you don't know the words.
Exactly. It's that you don't recognize them in their real, everyday, smushed together form. Getting your ear used to the actual sound and rhythm of natural speech is, maybe, the biggest step after basic vocab and grammar.
Okay, so we've got speed, mumbling, noise, connected speech. Makes sense. What else is going on that makes movies tough?
Well, another huge layer is cultural references and humor, which often relies on culture.
Oh, yeah. That's a big one. Like a character makes a joke about, I don't know, specific old TV show or politician from way back.
Or refers to some local tradition or a holiday thing that you just wouldn't know about if you didn't grow up there. These things carry tons of meaning for native speakers.
But for a learner, it just flies right over your head. Blank stare time.
And that's completely okay. You can't be expected to instantly know the entire cultural context of the UK or the US or Australia. Native speakers absorb that over decades.
But the good news, the material we looked at gives you ways to deal with that. Don't just ignore it when you miss a reference or a joke. pause the movie.
Rewind, maybe.
Yeah, rewind. And then, like, use Google or Reddit or even ask ChatGPT, why was that funny? Or who is that person they mentioned? What's the deal with that holiday?
It's like playing detective a bit. Every little thing you look up adds a piece to the puzzle, builds your understanding of the cultural background, and that's so important for getting dialogue, especially in comedies or dramas.
Oh, boy. Okay, and there's one more layer, right?
Yeah.
Accents.
Ah, yes, accents. Even if you feel pretty comfortable with, say, standard American English,
Yeah.
then you watch a movie set in Scotland or Liverpool or maybe rural Australia or even just a strong regional U.S. accent.
Hmm.
It can feel like a whole new challenge.
Like starting over sometimes.
It really can. The research definitely backs this up. Different accents have different ways of pronouncing vowels, different rhythms, sometimes even their own slang words. An Irish accent, a southern U.S. drawl, maybe even, specific Canadian slang you haven't heard.
Wow. Okay, so you've got this perfect storm. Speed, mumbling, noise, connected speech, culture gaps, accents. It sounds kind of impossible. How do you actually, get better? How do you train your ear for all that chaos?
Right. It does sound like a lot, but it's definitely not impossible. And this is where the practical action-focused steps from the sources come in. First one. Maybe sounds obvious, but it's crucial. Just watch more.
More content.
Exposure.
Consistent exposure is absolutely key. And specifically, try to watch stuff with different accents. Don't just stick to the one you find easiest.
Lean into the variety, don't avoid it.
Okay. And what about this strategy the material really seemed to highlight, using English subtitles?
Yes, this is so important. And the point the source makes is really clear. Using English subtitles is not cheating.
Not cheating.
It's smart learning. It helps your brain connect the sound you're hearing, maybe that fast connected speech or that unfamiliar accent, with the actual words on the screen, the words you already know in written form.
Okay, so it bridges that gap between sound and text.
Exactly. And they make a really important distinction here. Using subtitles in your own language, that's different. That can actually make your brain a bit lazy.
How so?
Because it just defaults to reading the easy translation. It might stop actively listening and trying to decode the English sound.
Ah, gotcha. So English subtitles keep you working in English. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, what other techniques? Shadowing came up?
Shadowing, yes. Great technique.
How does that work, specifically with movies or shows?
So you listen to a short bit of dialogue, maybe just a sentence, even a phrase. Then you pause and immediately try to repeat it yourself.
Out loud.
Out loud, yeah. And you try to copy everything, the rhythm, the intonation, the ups and downs, the speed, as closely as you can. You're literally being their shadow.
So you're not just passively listening. You're actively trying to make those sounds feel that flow.
Precisely. It helps you kind of internalize the rhythm physically. It connects what you hear to the actual act of speaking it. It's quite powerful. And the material also really stressed using content you actually like.
Oh, that seems huge. Yeah. If you're forcing yourself to watch something you find boring just for practice,
it becomes a chore. You won't stick with it.
Yeah.
But if you're genuinely hooked on a series or you love a certain YouTuber, you'll be much more motivated to figure out what they're saying.
learning becomes fun, basically.
Yeah.
Or at least less painful.
Much more effective, yeah.
Yeah.
And while you're watching or listening, try to listen actively. This is interesting. Don't get bogged down trying to catch every single word at first.
Okay.
Focus initially on the bigger picture. The rhythm, the music of the speech, the intonation. Like, can you tell if the person sounds angry or happy or sarcastic just from the tone? Get the overall flow.
And then maybe go back.
Yeah.
Like after you get the feel, then use the subtitles to nail down the specific words you missed.
Exactly. They work together beautifully. Listen for flow, then use subtitles for detail. And the material makes one last really insightful point about the goal of all this practice.
What's that?
It's not necessarily about sounding exactly like the actor, like being a perfect mimic or even catching every single word right away. The deeper goal, it suggests, is to try and feel their pace and their emotion as they speak.
Feeling the pace and emotion. Huh. I like that. It's like fluency isn't just knowing rules and words. It's about getting the music of the language inside you.
Yeah, internalizing that natural flow, that intuitive sense of how it sounds and feels.
It really moves beyond just like academic study. It's more like training your intuition.
I think that's a great way to put it. Training your ear, your brain, your intuition to handle the whole messy, real, connected package of spoken English.
Okay, so just to quickly recap this deep dive then. Understanding movies in English is tough. We know why now. They're made for natives, they're fast, maybe mumbled, full of noise, slang.
Right, and that big one, connected speech, where words blend together in ways textbooks don't teach.
Plus the cultural references you might miss and
Yeah.
all those different accents throwing you off. But you can get better. Key strategies we found. Get lots of exposure, especially to varied accents. Use English subtitles. That's smart, not cheating.
Ditch the native language ones for active listening.
Right. Practice shadowing. Repeat what you hear to feel the rhythm. Use content you actually enjoy so you stick with it.
And listen actively first for the flow and feeling, then use subtitles for the details.
Yeah, it's all about training your ear for the real thing, moving beyond just single words or grammar rules on a page.
Exactly. It's about processing the sound and the context as real people actually use it.
So thinking about that last idea, that really powerful one from the material that fluency starts with feeling the pace and emotion. What specific movie or TV show or maybe a YouTube channel, what content could you pick today to suit maybe shadowing or just listening actively to begin building that intuitive feel for real English? Something to think about.